Lynn and I knew of our next guest as a student in our high school in East Vancouver. In Vancouver, he's mostly known for real estate. In the rest of the world, he's known for art. He's the head of acquisitions in one of the world's most important contemporary art galleries, the Tate Modern in London, England. He has a remarkable ability to see things that others cannot, an opportunity in business, meaning, and a piece of art. What a gift he has given the city by converting an important heritage building in Chinatown into a wonderful art gallery that celebrates some of the most innovative artists in the world. Please welcome Bob Rennie.
Thank you. I thought I should treat my time with you tonight as I would just a dinner conversation with friends. I chose three very thinly related topics, drawing from the worlds that I live in: real estate, art, and politics. For my first topic, I'm very concerned that we will soon be living in a society where we will no longer be greeting our neighbors. We're becoming extremely isolated. We can blame it on the computer, or we can accuse our new immigrants. Our children at one time used to connect us with our neighbors and our neighborhoods, but when was the last time we let our children out without a prearranged play date, let our children out without being on a leash? We will soon never hear those innocent words from a child again. I was at Johnny's house, and be able to respond, "Who's Johnny?" UBC's professor, Daniel Hebert, broke up Greater Vancouver into pods of 650 people per pod. Daniel discovered that there are 26 ethnicities per pod of 650 people throughout Greater Vancouver. Even Richmond has 17 ethnicities per 650 people. Approximately 48% of Vancouver is of Asian origin, and approximately 48% of 48% of Vancouver and 28% of Greater Vancouver is of Asian origin. Do you know someone that would be less welcoming to a new family from China than they would be to a Caucasian family? Do you know someone that says they would sell their home for less money to a local than they would to a foreigner? Is racism rising to the surface in Vancouver? I remember sitting on the front steps of our home at 5th and Nanaimo in East Vancouver, where I grew up, and watching Mrs. Chin, our very elderly next-door neighbor. I watched Mrs. Chin walk up the front steps of a new neighbor's home that had just moved in. Mrs. Chin was carrying 4 huge bags of cheesies as her welcome to the neighborhood offering. I also remember their son Raymond telling my dad that he was moving from his mother's home next door over to West Vancouver's British properties. This would have been around 1962, 1964. The British properties had just declared an easement on title unenforceable. The easement had up until then prohibited Asians, blacks, and Jews from owning British property land. My second topic, art. The Rennie Collection is open to the public 2 days a week in Chinatown's oldest building, the Wing Sang building, built in 1889. A major discipline within the collection is focused on prejudice, social injustice, race, and identity. We will address the chaos of the world by presenting 20 to 30 artists from the collection this January. I thought I could share a few of the chaos works with you. Chaos is only the working title for now. I seldom speak on the collection here in Vancouver. Whenever I do speak in other cities in the world, I always start with my first acquisition, artist Norman Rockwell's Utopian on Top of the World from 1933. In 1974, at 17 years old, this is how I envisioned the world. From Chaos, the artist is Bill Owens. The photograph is from 1973. The title is really, really long. Suburbia, I don't feel that Richie playing with guns will have a negative effect on his personality. He already wants to be a policeman. His childhood gun playing won't make him into a cop shooter. By playing with guns, he learns to socialize with others. This next work is a photo taken in the 60s. The photographer is unknown. It has little or no monetary value, yet I consider it one of the most important photographs in our collection, highlighting not only racism, but how we destroy our children with our own prejudice. That innocent little boy does not know or understand the message that he is carrying. Our children will ultimately become who they associate with. The artist is Bob Beck. The title of the work is 13 Shooters from 2001. The 13 works are appropriated from Andy Warhol's famous work, 13 Most Wanted Men, that was censored from the 1964 World's Fair. The boy at the bottom right is Barry Lucatus, a 14-year-old. Barry walked into an algebra class with a hunting rifle, 2 handguns, and 78 rounds of ammunition, killing 3 and wounding 1. He had been teased by a jock. The 2 boys at the bottom, Dylan and Eric, were teased by jocks and called faggots. Dylan and Eric killed 13 and wounded 23, then killed themselves. You would know them as the Columbine Killers. America stopped that day. That was April 20th, 1999. These tragic events used to occur years apart. 16 years later, these tragic events occur months apart, and America doesn't stop anymore. This work is by the same artist, Bob Beck. The title of the work is Glove Skinning, Bruised, from 2003. The Whitney Museum in New York owns the other version, Unbruised, also from 2003. It is taken off the pages of a 50s Boy Scout type magazine, The Modern Man's Guide to Life, from a tiny drawing of how to skin a rabbit. Besides getting children comfortable with killing a living creature, the middle image depicts removing a girl's skirt, and the last image is way too close to a Ku Klux Klan hood. This work is meant to be read from the top down. The title of this work is Priceless by Hank Willis Thomas from 2004. The work is a massive 6 feet by 7.5 feet and hangs in my office today. When I bought this work in 2004, it was one of those works that I never thought that I would install for 25 years, given how controversial it was. However, it really has to be seen, given what's happened in America today. You see the line, choosing a casket for your son, priceless, MasterCard, taken from the ad campaign of MasterCard. Another work in chaos. The title of the work is Wake from 2005 by American artist Kerry James Marshall. The boat is 8 feet in height and sits on a black mirrored ocean. The boat started out with 17 medallions with the images of the first 17 slaves that came to America. All of the other medallions that you can see hanging off the ship represent the doctors, lawmakers, social workers, professors, and the long wake of ancestors of the 17 original slaves that came to America that make this world a better place. By Chinese artist Ai Weiwei, 7 1,800-year-old Han Dynasty vases, covered 100% in industrial paint. We waited 2 years to acquire this work. There were 2 museums ahead of us. Both museums felt that the works were far too controversial and passed on their acquisitions. The importance of the work in our collection and in the Chaos Show is it forces us to reevaluate and look at things differently. Artist Len Ligon's Double America. This is a very recent acquisition. It's pretty simple. The 2 desperately flashing fallen neon signs really speak to the current direction of our neighbors to the south. This is the last image by Palestine artist Mona Hatoum from 2006, standing 7.5 feet tall. You can see that each continent is outlined in red neon. The message is pretty simple. When one of us has a problem, we all have a problem. Syria doesn't have a problem, we all have a problem. Judy, the downtown east side, doesn't have a problem, we all have a problem. Could go for all of the speakers tonight. These works and the Chaos Show came out of my tea with the Dalai Lama. Earlier this year, 17 of us were invited to have tea with the Dalai Lama on a Tuesday afternoon. We all sat around a huge dining room table in a penthouse atop the Shangri-La Hotel. I didn't have any big burning question to ask. However, as I watched the others at the table, it hit me and I had a question. I said, Your Holiness, as I look around, I see that we all have resources, not just financial resources, but the resources of calling on each other. Your Holiness, when I hear the gentleman at the end of the table, when 16-year-olds start to work in his restaurants, these 16-year-olds are looking for the parental guidance that they were not getting at home. Here is my fear, Your Holiness. We are not a caste system here in North America, as in India, where everyone understands their lot in life. We're all led to believe that everybody is entitled to everything. I am very worried when I see what is happening in America. When people have nothing left to lose, they will resort to anything to survive. How do we handle our future? Well, the Dalai Lama actually banged his hand on the table and he said, I like this. I like this thinking. So I'm thinking in my mind, I've aced this, I passed the exam. The Dalai Lama then leaned over to his interpreter and looked back at me and said, "This is good, these are the questions we should be asking." And then the facilitator for the afternoon quickly stood up and said, "Let's bring this to a close." I didn't get an answer, nothing. I went home and I said, the Dalai Lama figured it out for me. There is no silver bullet, there is no magic beans, there is no answer. Just keep asking the tough questions, figure it out for yourself, and maybe we should all go to Costco and buy those big bags of cheesies. Thank you.